Welcome back to The Explainer. I am super excited to dive into today's topic because honestly, we're tackling something that seriously stumps even the most seasoned solar DIYers out there. Today, we are putting our entire focus on decoding 48-volt solar systems. We're going to really dig into the engineering behind MPPT voltage matching, and the goal here is to save you from what is easily one of the most expensive DIY mistakes you can make. If you've ever found yourself wondering why 48-volt systems require completely different panel string designs compared to your classic 12-volt setups, well, you are definitely in the right place. So let's start here. Why exactly do so many 48-volt solar systems just flat out fail? It's a pretty crucial question, because ruining expensive MPPT charge controllers with bad wiring, it is shockingly common. People drop thousands of dollars on this high-end equipment only to end up with a system that underperforms, refuses to charge, or, worst case scenario, completely fries the controller the second there's a chilly morning. And the answer? Well, it's because 48-volt batteries literally change everything. Making the jump to a 48-volt system isn't just about throwing more voltage at your existing blueprints. It fundamentally changes how your solar panels actually have to be wired together, and it completely alters how your controller operates on the inside. You really can't just copy and paste a 12-volt wiring diagram and expect it to work. It just doesn't. So here is our roadmap for today. We'll kick things off with Section 1, the 48-volt wiring trap. Then Section 2 is MPPT basics. Moving into Section 3, we'll design our perfect panel strings. Section 4 covers the cold weather danger, and we'll wrap it all up with Section 5 safety checks. Let's get into it. All right, Section 1, the 48-volt wiring trap. Moving beyond copy-paste wiring. We really need to understand why those standard YouTube copy-paste wiring tricks, just throwing panels into random series or parallel setups, completely fall apart the second you apply them to 48-volt systems. There's a massive, stark contrast in baseline charging requirements here. Think about it. A standard 12-volt battery charges at around 14 volts. Pretty easy, right? But a 48-volt lithium iron phosphate battery, that demands roughly 56.8 volts just to reach its absorption charging phase. That is a huge jump. Your solar array absolutely has to provide a voltage significantly higher than that 56.8 volt baseline, just for the system to even wake up and function. If you don't design your array to clear that high hurdle, your battery is going to charge incredibly slowly, inconsistently, or honestly just not at all. Moving right along to Section 2, MPPT basics. This is the true brain of the system. Okay, so to wire our panels correctly, we first have to actually know what this device is doing with the electricity we're feeding it. And the absolute most crucial thing to remember is this. MPPT controllers are essentially step-down converters. What does that mean? It means the controller needs a high shelf of incoming panel voltage, so it can successfully step that voltage down into a usable current to charge your battery. It literally takes a higher panel voltage and squeezes it down into the lower voltage the battery needs. But think about the math for a second. If your panels are only sending in 55 volts on a hot day, and your battery needs 56.8 volts to charge, the controller has absolutely zero overhead. It literally has nothing to step down from, so it stops working. Now, to build out this perfect system, you really have to grasp the difference between Vmp and Voc. Vmp, or voltage at maximum power, is the operating voltage we need for efficient charging. You can think of that as your normal working voltage. But Voc, that's open circuit voltage, and it's the absolute maximum voltage your panel can produce when it's just sitting there under the sun, not connected to any load. Voc is the really critical, scary number here, because that's the number that threatens to instantly fry your controller if you exceed its maximum input limits. Which brings us to Section 3, perfect panel strings. This is where we actually engineer the array. All right, now that we understand the trap and we know how the brain of the system works, I want to introduce you to our core framework. This is a super clear, step-by-step engineering method to design your perfect panel string. And don't worry, there is literally zero college-level math required here. Here is our completely foolproof four-step method. Step 1, check your battery charge voltage. You have to know your target. Step 2, check your MPPT operating range, paying special attention to its absolute maximum input limit. Step 3, choose your series panel count to hit that perfect target voltage. And Step 4, add parallel strings if you need more overall power. Notice how this method logically builds from the battery up to the panels. You never start with the panels. You always start with what the battery actually demands. Let's actually look at the math behind series wiring using a real-world example. Say we have a single panel with a 40-volt Vmp and a 48-volt Voc. And let's say our MPPT has a strict 150-volt maximum limit. If we just use one panel in series, our VMP is 40 volts. But remember, our 48-volt battery needs almost 57 volts just to charge. So one panel is completely useless, way too low. Now, what if we wire two panels in series? Boom, our VMP jumps to 80 volts. That gives the MPPT plenty of headroom to step down to 57 volts. And our VOC sits at a safe 96 volts, which is well below our 150-volt limit. This right here is the sweet spot. But look what happens if we get greedy and try three panels in series. Sure, the VMP is 120 volts, but the VOC suddenly shoots up to 144 volts. We are sitting dangerously close to that 150-volt red line.
And that brings up a really important rule. Once your series count correctly establishes that healthy voltage headroom, you lock it in. You do not keep adding more panels in series just for fun, because you will absolutely blow up your controller. Instead, you need to memorize this. Series sets voltage. Parallel sets current. If you want to increase your total wattage and push more overall power into your battery, you add identical series strings in parallel. Doing that increases the total current, the amps, flowing down to your MPPT without increasing the voltage even a single drop further.
Now, you might be wondering, why do 48-volt systems absolutely love higher voltage strings anyway? Well, let's compare pushing 40 amps versus 20 amps. We know power equals voltage multiplied by current. So if you have a 2,000-watt solar array running at, say, 50 volts, you are forcing 40 amps of current through those wires. That's a lot of heat. But if you wire that exact same 2,000-watt array to run at 100 volts, your current drops dead in half to just 20 amps. That massive current reduction is a game changer. It means your cables run cooler, you can use much smaller, cheaper wire sizes, and you're going to experience significantly less voltage drop over long-distance runs.
Okay, Section 4. This is a big one. The cold weather danger, the hidden threat.
Listen up, because this is the critical and unfortunately often ignored danger that completely destroys DIY systems every single winter. Please burn this rule into your memory. A solar panel's open circuit voltage, or VOC, physically spikes as the ambient temperature drops. Remember that three-panel string from our table a minute ago? The one sitting at a supposedly safe 144-volt VOC on a nice, warm 25 degrees Celsius day? Well, on a freezing winter morning, that voltage is going to naturally rise, and it can easily blast right past your controller's 150-volt limit before the sun is even fully up in the sky. And if that happens, the results are totally catastrophic. The source material spells it out without mincing words. If the controller's max PV voltage is exceeded, it can fail instantly. We are not talking about some slow, gradual degradation here over a few years. We are talking about an immediate, permanent death for your expensive MPPT. This just highlights the absolute urgency of calculating your worst-case cold weather VOC. You have to ensure that on the literal coldest day of the entire year, your panel's absolute maximum voltage will never, ever cross your MPPT's red line.
Finally, we've made it to Section 5, Safety Checks. These are your crucial final steps. Okay, you've got the engineering knowledge down. Now let's look at the actionable safety steps so you can guarantee your 48-volt system is built without causing a disaster. Let's run through this critical pre-flight checklist together. First, always turn off the PV breaker before you start working. Second, verify your MC4 polarity with a multimeter. Plugging in reverse connectors can cause instant damage. Third, confirm your cold Vox limit one last time just to be absolutely sure. Next, and I cannot stress this enough, this is an absolute necessity. You must connect the battery to the MPPT first. The controller literally needs to wake up and detect the battery voltage before it receives a single drop of power from the solar panels. And finally, always use properly rated DC breakers and fuses for the whole shebang. So I'm going to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. Do you actually know your battery's absorption voltage, your MPPT limits, and your panel's exact VOC? If you don't, it is officially time to stop guessing. Stop blindly copying generic wiring diagrams off the internet hoping for the best. Go check your specific numbers, do the basic math we walked through today, and engineer your system safely. Because understanding the why behind the wiring, that is literally the only way you're going to build a reliable, highly efficient 48-volt system. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy building!